Welcome to the Gospel reading and family prayer suggestion for the 10th Sunday in Ordinary Time, where Jesus says, "Whoever does the will of God is brother and sister and mother to me." And the reading comes from Mark chapter 3, verses 20 to 35. Jesus went home with his disciples, and such a crowd collected that they could not even have a meal. When his relatives heard of this, they set out to take charge of him, convinced he was out of his mind. The scribes who had come down from Jerusalem were saying, "Beelzebul is in him, and it is through the prince of devils that he casts devils out." So he called them to him and spoke to them in parables. "How can Satan cast out Satan? If a kingdom is divided against itself, that kingdom cannot last. And if a household is divided against itself, that household can never stand. Now if Satan has rebelled against himself and is divided, he cannot stand either. It is the end of him. But no one can make his way into a strong man's house and burgle his property unless he has tied up the strong man first. Only then can he burgle his house. I tell you solemnly, all men's sins will be forgiven, and all their blasphemies. And let anyone blaspheme against the Holy Spirit, and he will never have forgiveness. He is guilty of an eternal sin." This was because they were saying, "An unclean spirit is in him." His mother and brothers and now arrived, standing outside, sent in a message asking for him. A crowd was sitting round him at the time. The message was passed to him. "Your mother and brothers and sisters are outside, asking for you." He replied, "Who are my mother and my brothers?" And looking round at those sitting in a circle about him, he said, "Here are my mother and my brothers. Anyone who does the will of God, that person is my brother and sister and mother." The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. A family prayer suggestion. Families are places of beginnings, and within families we first learn what it means to be part of a community. We share a closeness and experience mutual understanding and support. We learn how to love one another, how to ask for and receive forgiveness, and how to apply all these lessons to the world outside our homes. And as you gather as a family, talk about what makes your family special and share some of the lessons you have learned together about love, forgiveness, and understanding. Then read today's Gospel, Mark chapter 3, verses 20 to 35, where Jesus wants us to understand that by doing God's will, we are part of a bigger family. And choosing to follow Jesus, being his disciple, means we must treat one another with kindness and mercy. We must become a family. And then conclude by asking God to bless your family and to help you do God's will by seeing all his people with the same kind of love and compassion. And pray together the Lord's Prayer and the Hail Mary. Thank you for sharing the Gospel with me this Sunday, and may it ever bring you closer to Jesus. God bless and take care.